All right, hi guys. We're here with Czinger of Czinger Vehicles, and he's going to tell us all about their cool cars, including the Blackbird that just showed up today for the first time.
Awesome. Thank you and welcome to the Czinger stand here at Quail. This is a very special car for us, really for two reasons. One is the Blackbird. We're only making 4 of those. We call it our Founders Edition. But 2, this is actually customer car number 1. So after 8 years of building the tech business, the car business, this is the culmination of all those hours, all those years with customer car number 1 delivered here today.
That's so cool. Is this the strong hybrid powertrain?
Exactly. So we've got our own V8 in the rear, which is actually our own design, 2.88 liter twin turbo, does about 1,000 horsepower. Then in the front, we have 2 electric motors, 1 for each front wheel. And in the middle, we've got an MGU, third electric motor, which actually can put power into the crank of the V8 or drag on the crank and recharge the batteries, which are in the sill. So really it's an F1 type strategy in terms of power delivery. You're charging, discharging, you get the torque of the EV power for corner exit, for acceleration, then you get the durability and continuous power of a V8.
That's so cool. Tell me about all the 3D printing. How much of this is 3D printed?
So our entire suspension and chassis system is really 3D printed or additively manufactured. And we started as a technology business doing design software, 3D printing materials and assembly for automotive and aerospace. And that is part of the advantage of this car is the lightweight chassis and suspension that can only be achieved through that additive manufacturing process.
And that makes it super light too, right?
Yes,
Obviously.
yes, unsprung mass, so the corners are much lighter than other vehicles. And you know, the middle vehicle on the stand, the green vehicle, that's actually a record-breaking car. So that set the Goodwood Hill Climb record, and then announced today the Circuit of the Americas record as well.
So what record is this one gonna be breaking?
You know, that is up to the customer. He's actually taking this car to Spa, one of the great raceways of this world. He's gonna drive the car first there, so it ships out right after this to him. So we will see.
That's awesome. All right,
maybe the Spa record, if he's capable enough, he could just post it online and say, look what I broke today.
The world is his oyster at this point. He's got the right machine for it.
He does have the right machine.
So I wrote about this and people were really interested in the seating setup.
Yes.
So what can you tell us about the seating setup?
So right away, you'll notice it's in line.
Yeah, so cool.
1 seat, 1 front seat, 1 rear seat, but in line, like a fighter jet, pilot, co-pilot.
Got it.
And importantly, from an engineering standpoint, if you look at the front of the car, you notice the cockpit, the cabin is very narrow.
Yeah.
From an aerodynamic standpoint, that actually adds a lot to the performance we can achieve. So part of the reason it's a record breaker is from this outstanding aero performance, and the seating helps with that a lot. But from a driving experience as well, you're dead center in the car.
Oh, yeah.
You're symmetric in the car. Left hand feels the same as right hand. There's the reason F1 cars are center seated.
That's right.
If you're looking for performance and driving experience, that's really the seating layout you want.
I love it. It also makes it so unique. It's like, even though there are a lot of cars here today, are there any that have that?
No, there's none that have that. Absolutely none that have it. And it's sculpted in that way. It creates that long distance from fender to cabin. It adds to that aggressive proportion of the car.
It looks really good. I've been asking people if there were like 3 elements of this that you can show us or point out to us. What are your 3 favorite pieces of this?
On this exact car, I'd say, 1, the steering column in the front there shows the 3D printing technology into the interior. That's actually a structural part, so it's adding to the stiffness of the cabin. That's really cool. I'd say, towards the rear of the car, we're now at the engine bay of the 21C VMAX, which is the long tail brother of customer car number 1 over there, the Blackbird. You see right away, this actually has a luggage compartment, so you can go travel and put some things in it. You see a top exit exhaust, which comes right through the A surface there. You see this actual heat shielding is 3D printed. So that's a high temperature capable material printed. The whole exhaust itself is printed as well.
Wow.
Then you get in here and all of the aluminum color you see, that's a patented aluminum alloy that we actually made. So no one else can print that material, also printed on our own machine. And below that organic optimized frame is our 2.88 liter V8 twin turbo, does about 1,000 horsepower, and ties directly into that strong hybrid EV setup we talked about earlier. Anything else?
So cool. Will you show us the part on the front that you were talking about, the steering column, I think it was?
Oh yeah, yeah.
I can play the games growing up as a kid. You can just add every single thing on the like into the character, like make it like a super character. I feel like this is when you're done with the car.
Yes, this is the ultimate boss.
I love it.
Maybe pop to the other side.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I think you can almost see it best through here, but what you'll see immediately here is our 3D printed steering column. And this is actually adding stiffness laterally to the car, but it's also sporting the entire steering setup. You see the steering wheel, actually 3D printed shifting levers, and the wheel itself 3D printed as well. Wow. Weight optimized, brings the chassis technology into the interior. And we like to talk about the design side as well, which is traditionally cars have been exterior and interior, right? Those are your two design pillars. We've brought a third, which is chassis. So the chassis over there, the chassis under this body, that's the third design element. We call that the unified design theory. I'd say this is a detail that not many people notice about the Blackbird especially, which is the rim profile is actually the silhouette of the original SR-71, which is the Blackbird from Lockheed Martin. So every spoke of that rim is essentially that, you know, SR-71 plane from the top down. And then lastly, you see that wing, that's massive fixed aero. That's doing over 2,000 pounds of downforce, you know, at speed, which is the equivalent of having a large vehicle parked on the rear wing of this car. So that gives you some indication of the amount of grip and force that's going onto those rear tires.
Yeah, that's crazy. If there's one thing that you hope that this does for the brand, where do you hope that the Blackbird takes you?
I'd say for us, this is the start of a long journey. This is car number one. Car number two is in design already. This is the birth of a brand that's going to become America's performance brand.
I love it. If I, you know, how much are these, by the way?
These start at $2 million. The Blackbird is $2.8 million, but all of them are sold out.
Yes.
The other ones start at 2, but usually optioned up to about 2.4, 2.5.
So if I wrote you a check for $2.8 million today, how long until I receive it?
So you would be getting one of the last allocations, and you'd be into November, December of next year, if not January of the following year. So we are a scaled manufacturer already, a tier 1 business. So we do have a facility in place that's capable of doing about a car a week.
Oh, wow, okay.
And that facility has already produced car number 1 off the line. Car number 2 is actually just behind it, being completed in the coming days here.
All right. Is there anything else that you feel like you haven't touched on today, or that you want people to know about the brand or the Blackbird or any of the vehicles that you have here today?
No, I would just say this is the fastest production car in the world, and production to us is a fundamental word because it means this went through full crash and full emissions homologation. And there's a lot of brands that are track only, or they're doing exemptions for road use. This has no exemptions whatsoever. So it's engineered to the same standards in terms of crash and emissions as any large series production car you know. So you're getting the safety, the emission certification, but also the performance that tops any other car on the market today.
I did not know that. So there you go. That's a fun fact for you.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.